bunker. Join Nikki, Rosella, Robert, Kayla, and Cole Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as we traverse the portals of the universe. Discover the secrets of the cryptids. Uncover the truth of conspiracy. And explore the hauntings of our world. And once again, welcome to the S4 Paranormal Bunker.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the S4 Paranormal Bunker. Tonight we are talking ancient civilizations and according to Kayla it's the alien connection, but I think it should be why the aliens didn't show up until after the dinosaurs died. Fran, because I want answers, god damn it. Fran.
I think we all do. We all do.
Fran. So the first thing I gotta say tonight is I'm a little sluggish because, well, many things happened today. I'm gonna say it was the greatest day ever. No day has ever been this great. Fran,
Happy birthday.
how else do I put this? Fran, Trump's an asshole. No. Happy Liberation Day for those who believe in that. Oh, frick, that's you. Sorry, I saw someone in the chat. Didn't recognize the name. It's my wife. Fran. So, yeah. A lot of things are going on today, but today was my birthday. Fran, that shit's over now, thank God. Fran.
No!
Now on to bigger and better things.
Yeah,
Fran.
like my birthday next week.
Damn right.
Hey.
Fran. So, thank you to everyone who said happy birthday to me. Thank you for everything. Fran, the wife and the kids got me many great things. And some weird ones. Fran, who the fuck needs a bacon eraser?
It was hilarious.
I was going to say.
So tonight's show, yeah, we're talking ancient civilizations and the alien connection, because, like, we have shows about this out there, and I hate them. There's no other way to put that.
Yeah, not all of them are bad. Ancient Aliens is not great.
That's pretty much the one.
It's got some serious flaws in it, and they don't do enough of the proper research and do enough of the proper talking to different cultures. You don't talk to people and tell them that they're wrong about their own culture. That's just not the way that works. But,
well, and I can't be a judge on anything Discovery Channel Discovery Channel puts out, because they always put David Attenborough on it, and how the hell can you not like anything with him?
Yeah, okay, David Attenborough is pretty awesome.
How did you put it the other night? He's Winnie the Pooh, but older?
Oh, no. He's a slow-talking Winnie the Pooh. Like, if you actually listen to his voice, he kind of sounds like if Winnie the Pooh was suave. Okay.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Never would have thought of that. That's pretty good.
I do want to put a shout out to ACOX3527. He commented on the show last week, and He would like to know if we can still have a tinfoil night in the bunker. I did comment back to him that every night on the S4 Paranormal Bunker is tinfoil night.
That's actually pretty true. In the grand scheme of things, yes, it is.
And that we have cookies. So join now.
Always have cookies.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Friend. But what do you guys think? Like, do you guys... How far back do you think the aliens actually visited?
Dude, before the planet was even done being molten.
I don't think so.
I do.
It was too volatile at that point, and no one would accept foot on this place.
Whatever, that's when the gin first became.
Well, no one's going to like my answer. Any of the Christian community is going to hate my answer.
Go for it anyway.
I'm going to. I plan on it. Honestly, with everything that I now understand, and the lots of bits and pieces that I've been exposed to, I now believe that the ETs dealt with and put the dinosaurs on this planet for very specific reasons. And then they were wiped out. So for a totally different reason. I think it was part of their genetic plan of manipulation on this planet is what I think. And when you think about it, that's pretty effed up. When you really get down to the nitty-gritty of it, and you really start thinking about the science it took to do that, with what I know about what they're doing with clones, with what I know about how different ones are working with different governments across this planet, how they're working with other races, other species of ET, and from the bits and pieces that I remember of past lifetimes, long before I was ever a human, incarnated as a human. So yeah, I honestly, truly, and I don't care if nobody else agrees with me, that is based solely on a lot of years of bits and pieces of information that I've been slowly putting together, and it's just kind of mind-effed me because I'm like, wait a minute, that goes completely against everything that I once believed. It goes completely against a lot of different aspects of the science, that the sciences that we have now, which are in comparison greatly different. So
Well, okay.
I believe they had a hand in everything.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, go for it.
When you say it goes against everything you believed, are you talking about the Christian viewpoint or Catholic viewpoint?
Yeah.
Does it, though? Because
In a lot of ways it does, but yet at the same time it depends. Of course, after talking with Christopher Fisher, who is a savant and who, oh man, that man has so much knowledge on religion and the amount of information he has. I mean, like, you ask him to research something, he will research it to the end. I mean, back to the very beginning of it.
well,
And
like we all, like,
it's amazed me.
like Nikki, me and you, I know for sure we believe in God.
Yes, I
But-
do.
Do you honestly believe he's on the same timeline as us?
That God is on the same timeline as us?
Yeah. Like for him,
No, I
our
believe-
minute is a minute.
No, for him, I believe our minute is a fraction of 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 a second.
So when it says the Lord created the heavens and the earth like in 7 days, who's to say that 7 days wasn't for the first
His
moments
7
of the
days.
like his 7 days and not ours? For
Yeah.
like that book
I
is
mean,
so
think about that.
open to theory.
Yes, it is.
And
Open to interpretation
yes,
and different perspectives.
Friend, like, the thing is, like, and when it comes to science, Nikki, science sucks when it comes to dinosaurs. Let's not lie.
Yeah, I will fully agree with that. I mean, look at what has gone on, in the last, I want to say in the last year, but it's more like in the last 6 to 8 months, as to what they found. I mean, science has made realizations as to, what was it? T-Rexes don't sound the way we thought they did.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that was a mind bender for the science community.
Well,
look at what's going on with Egypt right now with the pyramids.
Do you know what was a mind bender for me?
Found. What?
The fact that George Washington, the U.S.'s first president, had no fucking clue what a dinosaur was. Didn't know they existed. To me, that's insane. That they've only been discovered for that long. They are that small of a science still.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, you look at our sciences and then you look at different civilizations who had different forms of sciences, and they were far more advanced.
Well, and it kind of makes
Think about that.
It makes me wonder.
Sorry.
The U.S. is a huge stockpile for dinosaur bones.
Yeah.
And
who has all of them?
Throughout the periods.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, throughout the Cretaceous, throughout the Jurassic, throughout all of those periods, we have bones from each era.
Yeah, we do.
But then I also look at the way our governments treat the discovery of aliens and the discoveries they make within them. Well, and this came up because me and my dad were talking about JFK and the files that were released.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that all we really got out of it was a few new social security numbers that someone can now use. For, like, we really didn't get any new information. Well, we didn't get any new information when it came to the Congress meetings on UFOs and UAPs. They're only giving us they're calling it an open session, but they're only giving us the information they still want to.
Yeah, bare minimum.
So do we actually have alien skeletons that are fossilized from that same period? Because, like, think about it. Like, if you're going to put creatures like that on the Earth, I don't care how advanced you are, I don't care what you're doing, there's going to be fuck-ups. Friend, there is always that one guy, and his name is Chad. Friend, like, there is an alien out there, his name is Chad, and he got too close. For, like, every society has them. Friend, and it's not, I'm not just talking about humans. Every society within a society. So, like, monkeys have them. Dolphins have them. One of them who doesn't have the same level of intelligence as the others and usually causes mistakes.
Yep.
Well, there's got to be a Chad hidden under the earth somewhere. What do you think?
I think it's a possibility.
Like,
I'm not going to say it isn't. I mean, I agree with you in so many regards with what you just said because of, oh God, there's so many different things that are popping in through my head. Like, who was it? Where the hell did they get married at? I think it was Arizona, New Mexico, or Utah. There's a couple that I know that got married at a historical site. They got all the permits and everything, and I will never forget the pictures. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because it's all the picture. It's all, I don't remember. It's when you've got drawings on caves and walls and stuff. I can't remember what that's called right now. I got hit yesterday. Sorry, guys. I got hit yesterday, so I'm impressed that I can even have this conversation right now. I got hit really hard for a very long time with a dew energy weapon, and it's really knocked me a bit senseless sometimes. So I'm having problems with remembering certain words. I mean, more so than normal.
Yeah.
So I do apologize ahead of time.
It's okay.
But I don't remember what the hell that's called. The artwork that cave drawings and things like that. And they had pictures. Their wedding background was the pictures on of this cave art, and I don't know why, but I literally just thought of that and thinking, how long did it take for them? How long did it take for us humans to find that? That's
right.
my point. And very inarticulate way and long way around it, but it finally got there. And how long is it going to take us to actually find more things? A lot more things. Like they're finding in the last 10 years, last 5 to 10 years, they're finding doorways that were never found before. They're finding openings to caves that have doors now. And I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Well, and now we've got paleontologists stating that some natural caves that we have in the world might not be natural.
Yeah.
And dinosaurs actually created caves and homes for themselves. Like, I am totally, I don't know. Crabs do it, so why couldn't they?
Think about the ETs that are reptilians, the original reptilian Dracos. They are forms, they were intelligent.
Yeah.
They are intelligent, excuse me. But if dinosaurs were made in similarity to the DNA structure, I think about that. That's a hell of a mind bender. I mean, it's really far out there. But what if? Here's the question: what if?
That's the problem.
We can always ask what if.
It's
That's
absolutely gross. Okay, I'm not denying that, but we are considered the most intelligent creature on the planet right now, and
which is laughable.
It is because we have guys at last Thanksgiving having sex with turkeys for
oh God
at the Butterball factory. So like. But, like, what if one of the reptilians found a dinosaur that they found attractive, and they actually did create a subspecies of the two? Because if they're part of you already, like, we've got aliens right now creating hybrids.
Yes, we do. Butterballs.
Friend,
oh my God.
Hey.
I can't even comment. Oh my God.
Friend, there are so many things that came of that, like, friend, pre-basted, like, yeah, it was a bad time in the States.
There's something about a salt brine.
Yeah.
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 God.
People are weird. So, but let's say they created a hybrid back then.
Yeah.
Well, now we have a semi-intelligent dinosaur running around.
Yeah. Sorry.
Not the mama.
Yeah,
hey, and
right?
who's to say, like, if you really think about it, we still could. We have sightings of, like, swamp creatures and stuff like that all the freaking time.
Well, not just that, but we got sharks and we've got fucking crocodiles and turtles.
Yeah.
Well, and they're now finding amphibians that are morphing. They're changing because of what's happening to their DNA. Their DNA is changing. So who's to say that didn't happen then?
Well,
Yeah.
see, and the other thing about like amphibians and stuff like that is that they can be born male, can be born female, but they can switch throughout their lifetime.
Yeah.
Like entire organs, everything.
Yeah. Documented too.
Mm-hmm.
So would you
That's
call
like-
those transamphibians?
Transphibians, maybe.
Transamphibians?
But they do. They change their sex several times, some of them, throughout their lifespan.
Yeah.
So they could be the father of one generation of, like, frogs, and they could be the mother of the next generation of frogs.
Yeah.
Well, and it's why the main basis of Jurassic Park is the fact that they use frog DNA to...
Yeah.
Because they were supposed to all be female, and then, hey, guess what? One of them became male. Well, obviously, these are fertilized eggs now. Whatever. Yeah.
Oops.
Spontaneous. Oh my God! Not combustion. Oh my God!
Boom!
Kirby!
So it wasn't an
Spontaneous.
asteroid after all. No.
Oh dear.
Friend,
Well, we've had Earth has had a reset a number of times, so the wiping out of the dinosaurs for the most part, and how many of them were already inside Earth, and stayed inside Earth, and you've got sightings, for example, in Alaska, to where people have said that they have seen, the flying pterodactyl, could not think of the word, pterodactyls.
You have those
And-
sightings in Nevada as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I wasn't going to go there, but yeah, I mean, they're more prevalent from what I've heard over the years in Alaska, and I'm like, what the hell is so special about that? Because that in Nevada, that would make more sense to me. But in Alaska, where you've got, how are they getting in and out? Well, cave systems.
yeah, well, and that's the
So-
thing, like, we've got islands there that are directly over the Ring of Fire.
Yeah. I mean, think about that.
So,
Well, and think about how many non-inhabited islands there are. Like, it's ridiculous how many pieces of land human
Yeah.
feet have never touched. Like,
Exactly.
well, and that's the thing, like, with
Or
that,
forests
with
that
that
have-
idea of them using the cave systems and the Ring of Fire and them being in Alaska, I wonder, are we going to see a new creature emerge, or a very, very fucking old creature emerge in the coming months?
why?
Because we've got that mountain that's, or that
Oh
volcano
yeah, that
that's about to
volcano
fucking
is gonna blow
let
at
go.
some point.
And it's a big one.
The Alaskan
One in-
volcano.
Well,
in
you got
Anchorage.
Alaska, and you've also got the one in Iceland that's
Yeah.
going right now.
Speaking of natural disasters, to all our listeners in Arkansas, I hope you are all okay, and I hope you are doing well.
Mhm.
What's the
Right.
current? I haven't heard the current news today.
They had like
Let's
an
see.
F4. Yeah, they had an
Oh.
F4 today. I think it was an F4.
Yeah,
From
we're-
the looks of the picture.
We're supposed to be getting a huge storm system all the way from Louisiana over to Ohio and up to Arkansas coming through for the next few days with historic flood amounts. They said in some places it'll be 15 to 20 inches of rain in a 24-hour period. So,
Good God,
yeah.
that's Well, and is that rain toxic?
It shouldn't be, but
That's the other thing that's going on but that's government, that's global government doing, yes, but that's a whole nother subject. But, yeah, I don't trust rain anymore. You
I
can't.
don't trust our weather at all. We had snow that one year that I swear to God never melted. We put it on the fire, and it turned black and it burnt. Snow doesn't turn black and burn. It melts.
Yeah, that's because it
There was
has
like microplastics in it and shit.
and metal. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a
That's-
weird year.
hardcore toxic stuff.
Then I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I was just playing in that. Ew.
Regarding the tornadoes, a number of years ago, I had a dear friend who lost actually both he and his girlfriend at the time, both, they lost everything. And they were in completely different, it was two completely different tornado systems.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, wow, okay. So they got together, married, and went somewhere else. It was like, wow. But I remember seeing pictures of it, and there was nothing left of, I mean, it literally, it was just, the houses were kindling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you didn't have walls left. It was a bad tornado. So I'm so sorry to hear folks are going through that. It's wicked stuff. It's really nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope everybody does well and survives and does what they can to protect themselves and build supplies back up.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Over the course of the last while here, we've had some pretty devastating, and not just the U.S., but I mean worldwide.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look
Some pretty devastating natural disasters happening here in the last little while. That earthquake was terrible.
March 28th.
Yeah, there's
Myanmar
Mhm.
and Taiwan. Was it Taiwan? No, Thailand. Excuse me. Thailand, Myanmar.
Myanmar earthquake, yeah, was
Yes,
really bad.
7.7, I think.
Yeah, I think last time I checked, they were up to 2,600 deaths and way more missing still. So.
And,
That's wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Really wicked.
but that's what I mean. Like,
Tonga had a 7.1, and they're still having after effects from it.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's only, unfortunately, in my opinion, based on what I've been shown in the last year, it's only going to get worse. It will eventually calm down, but right now it's going to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
So have your to-go bags ready, folks. Have at least 3 to 5 days worth of supplies. Build it up if you don't have it now.
honestly,
But
Nikki,
anyhow.
I'm not going to lie to you. In this area where we are,
yeah,
like, Eric Cooper always believed in to-go bags and having them ready to go.
I believe in them strongly too. I mean,
The problem is anything that happens here that could really affect us where we would need them, we're not going to make it.
yeah, I
It
mean,
doesn't matter what we
you've got to
do.
have. What I learned when I was living in Seattle at the time, what I learned was that you had to have a to-go bag for each and every person. You had to have every piece of ID or copy of ID had to be laminated because paper gets wet. Ziploc bags are your friend. Wet, dry bags are your friend. And you have a list, any kind of list where you've got major phone numbers that you need, because your cell phone most likely isn't going to work in a disaster. I mean, look at what happened in North Carolina, in the Carolinas, and other locations recently in the last year. So, I mean, you have those in your vehicle as well. You keep them hidden, but you have them in your vehicle, and then change things out periodically during these different seasons. So it does take a lot of diligent effort and energy to do, but I know when we had the 6.8 earthquake, what was it, 2000? I should know this. It happened on my birthday. Was it 2002? 2001, 2002. Anyway, we had to-go bags. I had a garbage can, a Rubbermaid type garbage can loaded outside of the house. We had a couple of them actually, but the main one was in a specific location. But that was it was dependent upon where you were able to meet as a family or what was going on. I mean, we even I had a to-go bag, a family to-go bag, including for the animals, in that garbage can outside. So you do what you have to do for your family, for individual or for family, but I don't have all of that this time around.
See,
I've got a to-go bag, but they are important. But and you're right, if you're in an area where you know that if something really big, because you guys are on a mountain, if that mountain goes, you're looking at pyroclastic, what is it called? Pyroclastic flows, and you're looking at mud flows. You're looking at all sorts of stuff. So it's a different ballgame.
See, and that's
It's a
the thing.
completely
When we
different
think
ballgame. You
about that
gotta
stuff,
know your area.
when we think about this stuff, we don't even think about the volcano. We think about the dams, because there's 5 of them that are going to blow all at the same time.
Floods. Yeah.
And then not just that, but Kayla had been doing research for a book she was going to write, and that Cascadian subduction zone, if that ever actually twangs,
We're dead.
Our house immediately becomes the Skagit River. Because the ground all the way to our house will liquefy and bury the house.
That's what happened in Ozo.
Yeah. Well, kinda.
Well, I mean, if they had what I mean is the mud that came down the mountain, it liquefied and went right down, and it caused how many houses to go in and under?
Nikki, what I mean is the ground actually underneath our house.
Yeah,
will
it turns
liquefy
into
and
almost a quicksand type substance.
And we'll just
It
pull the
liquefies
house
the ground.
down.
Oh.
Nothing like, I'm not talking the mountain coming down. I'm just talking we will just sink.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you have a strong enough earthquake next to any body of water that has ground seepage, then it seriously just liquefies the ground around it. Because of the shaking motion of it, it makes it into like a... Yeah, it's like when you add...
No, I know, I get it.
Yeah. Water to a cake mix, there we go. And just like mix it around. That's what it will do to the ground. It's freaking weird, but it is. It's crazy.
And the thing is, like, our leaders in the area, they know that if that was to happen, the dams are gone, because their disaster plan for it, they state if Lower Baker Dam blows, the city of Town of Concrete has, what did they say, 10 minutes?
10 minutes. Dude, it's inside the city of Concrete. If that blows, you don't have 10 minutes. You have
right
like
above
35 seconds.
Like, when they write that down, that tells you they know no one's making it.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to give people hope.
Yeah, and you are on your own in every way possible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're so isolated up here that if anything major happens down below, we're on our own completely for God knows how long anyways.
And you have to realize that if you're buying property, you have to realize what the area is, and what it can do.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, for the most part, like, I'm not... How do I put this? I'm not one of those people that sits there and worries about the could happens, because the fact is, if I worried about everything that could possibly happen, I'd never go anywhere or do anything, because I'd be terrified all the time. So, I've always looked at it as, there's a possibility of all these things happening, but I'm still going to live my life and do me.
Well, and to be honest, when we bought this house, everything else really wasn't a worry. It was, this house is in our budget. That's awesome.
I understand that.
And, like, honestly, after we bought the house, because we bought it in what, 2018?
19.
Friend, we wouldn't have made it through COVID
Oh God, no.
if we hadn't bought a house because we couldn't afford rent.
Yeah, there would have been no way that we would have made it through those COVID years if we hadn't bought the house when we did.
Friend.
I can understand that.
So, but like, back to what we were talking about. If that volcano in Anchorage blows,
Yeah.
with how much more people are looking up, I'm wondering if we will see a new species emerge, or an old species.
Be pretty interesting, wouldn't it?
Right? Like, friend.
Well, they say that when St. Helens blew, that they found bodies of other species and things that, like Bigfoot and stuff on the mountain.
Yeah. They were pulling Bigfoot bodies out. I remember reading about that. And then there were also something about I can't remember how it was phrased. Something about the U.S. Army going in and helping certain Sasquatch, which I did. I mean, when I first heard that, I think that was 2018 when I first heard that. That blew my mind, man. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Mm-hmm.
So, and there were two people, we had very in-depth conversations over that one at the UFOI team. I mean, wow, that was an intense conversation, couple of intense conversations.
Well, I
So,
mean, we also...
it's fascinating.
Yeah, we also
Just
find new species all the time. It's not
Yes.
like we're still not finding brand new species. And some of these species are gigantic. Some of them,
Yeah.
it's like, how did we not see any of you before? You were like the size of a damn elephant. Like,
Well, and that's on land. Look at our oceans.
right.
They're just now finding certain things in the ocean. They're like, holy crap, we never expected this. I just saw a video. Oh God. I'm going to say the last 24 to 72 hours. I just saw I don't know, it was about a 15 to 20 minute video.
Mhm.
And it was this scientist, she was an oceanographer. And she talked about the fact of, the interviewer had specifically asked her something to the effect of, how did you ever believe that you would see what you're seeing right now? And they showed the video of what she took, and it was incredible. And she's like, this is a whatever it was. It was attached to rocks. I don't remember if it was a sponge or whatever the hell it was. And she goes, do you have any idea the fact that this is so far under the ocean, and the fact that we never anticipated seeing this? We not only did not expect to see this, we didn't even know this thing existed. It was like a subcategory of whatever they already knew, but they didn't even know this one existed. I'm like, and when was this? Oh, this was last year. The video was taken from last year, 2024. We're in this kind of day and age to where we're still finding things that we never knew about.
Oh,
how much more is
time.
there that we never knew about?
We are finding new species of insects and new species of flowers. Every single time somebody goes into a rainforest, they're finding new species. Like, we have a ridiculous amount, like I said, of unexplored land where anything could still be living out there. We have no idea.
Exactly.
Like, what was it? It wasn't until I can't exactly remember when, but they believed that silverback gorillas didn't exist.
Yeah.
They were actually in the category of cryptids.
That was 1800.
For the longest time, they were in the cryptid category, and they were like, yeah, no, that isn't real. Until they found a whole bunch of them, and then went, holy shit, they do exist. Like,
Yeah, and then they started bringing them back and studying them and they killed them and did autopsy. Oh god, yeah, that's a whole nother subject. But yeah, I mean, wasn't that in the 1800s, the mid 1800s?
I can't remember when. I'll have to look it up, but yeah, for the longest time they said silverback gorillas didn't exist. So
yeah, I mean, it's just really messed up. So, and look at some of the whales. I mean, you look at different. God, I don't know why they got popped into my head, but they did. Some of the whales we didn't know about. You look at what's the one that's got the unicorn horn on it?
Narwhal.
I can't think of what those are called.
Narwhal.
Thank you. Narwhal. People back in the 1700s, fishermen thought those were weird unicorns. You know, ocean swimming unicorns. I just saw a picture of a beluga whale. Full body. It was 1902. Okay. Oh, for the gorillas.
Yep.
Thank you. But I just saw a picture of a beluga whale, and I don't know where it was. I don't know if it was in some kind of contained pool or what. But it was a picture, an image, where the muscles on the underside, it was full length, it was upright, poking its head out of the water, and the view from the tail, from the bottom of its tail, all the way up to right about around its neck, because it was stretched out, literally looked like a mermaid with legs and a fin. And it's because of the muscles. It's because of how the muscles were formed. And I went, holy crap. That very easily, if it comes up and flips over and comes back down, very easily could look and be mistaken for a mermaid. What the ocean guys, the seamen, the fishermen, the boaters, I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, in the 1700s, I mean, that could very easily, that could go right into Siren Song and a bunch of other different myths and things of that nature. And here, all it was a beluga whale. And I'm like, wow. It was a mind trip when I saw that. That was this morning when I saw that. I was like, wow. I knew I should have kept it or screenshot it or something. Would have been handy. But, I mean, we turn what we don't know into forms of myth or mythology.
Like the Kraken, you know.
Yeah.
Or the Lazarin or any of that kind of stuff. Or if we look at like the Loch Ness Monster or Champy or any of these ones.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it could exist down there. We have no idea. We haven't done like full surveillance of the bottom of Loch Ness, and it connects under a caving system and everything else to like 4 other freaking lakes. There's no way that we can know everything that's down there. Like,
exactly.
You guys want to know something I didn't know about the ocean?
So,
do you guys know what a grouper is?
Yeah, it's a fish.
Yeah. Those fuckers are disgusting. Friend.
Yeah, they're bony.
Oh no. They're horny. Friend. So, the females go into a coral area, release their eggs, and then the males just come in and they come everywhere. Friend, all over the ocean. Friend.
Well, why do you think it's saltwater?
Yeah. Friend. Like,
and what about the salmon?
Yeah. Fish are gross.
Disgusting.
You think that's bad? What about the Great Barrier Reef? When it's in heat,
That's true.
there's whole heaps of it all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Friend.
Oh, that's a horrible thought.
Salty waters. Hey.
That's why I never drink water. Fish fucking.
Oh. Would that technically make the ocean a soup?
Huh?
That would make the ocean a soup, right? Water, protein,
A,
See,
plant life.
a briny soup.
That'd be a big old soup. Ew.
And this is why I
Can't
don't drink it.
believe we're having that conversation.
Soup-a-doo, soup-a-doo.
Oh,
Oh
God.
my god, you guys.
Oh, that's so gross.
It's not my fault. Kayla made me watch that show.
What show?
We essentially watch fish porn.
Oh, that was another at barrel. Yeah.
When
Oh dear. Anyway, we are way off the subject.
It was Blue
are
Planet.
we though?
Jesus. Okay.
Oh, I love Blue Planet.
See, she likes fish porn too.
I love learning about the Earth. It's really cool.
It's a disgusting
Actually,
place.
it's really hot, but you know. Anyway,
So, me and my son got into a discussion the other day because he was telling me that the smartest thing on Earth is humans, you know? And I was like, hi, you're funny, right? And my other son was like, no, ants are! Ants are way smarter, right? I was like, what? And he starts explaining how ants build their colonies. There's no warfare, there's no this, there's no that, you know, like all of this. They basically live in a peaceful, harmonious colony and they all do their job and everything else. I was like, okay, cool. But, me personally, I think that bees are smarter than anything else that lives here. It would be a bee.
well, if we lose our bees, humanity's screwed, in my opinion.
Well, not only that, but bees can do quantum math. And they know how to communicate that with other bees. That's why they can travel and relocate their housing, like their whole little bee colony and everything. And they can go for hundreds and hundreds of miles to relocate, and none of them will get lost. Because they do this weird little wiggle bee dance thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking the bee dance.
That tells them exactly how many miles this way, then you turn at this tree, then you turn at this, and they have outstanding memories because they all remember the bee dance, and they go directly to the location they're talking about. That's how they don't get lost when they go out and they like pollinate flowers and everything, get their nectar and all that, is because they know exactly how far from home they are and where they went to get there. And I'm like, that's insane, man.
Well, not only that, you're looking at the fact that they shouldn't even physically be able to fly.
Right? They got fat little bodies, itty bitty tiny wings.
Yep. Teeny tiny wings and those big bodies. So, I mean, wow.
Right? They're not very aerodynamic. That's for
And
sure.
you look at I was thinking of the rate of speed in which their wings go.
Uh-huh.
Reminds me of a hummingbird.
Yeah, they're
Also
fast.
reminds they're very, very fast. And dragonflies it all reminds me of those three species.
Mm-hmm.
Just incredible.
Right, if you think of like the journey that everything took, like in the evolutionary process that it had to have gone through to get to where it's at today, it's kind of insane when you think about it.
Hardcore, actually.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Is it though?
What?
Or did it have help?
Did it have help? Are you talking like aliens came down and helped us on every
Yes.
step of the way? I think that aliens played their part, absolutely. But I also believe that some things were just natural selection and evolution. Like, it wasn't all alien made, you know what I mean?
I agree with that.
Friend. So would I.
I don't think they did all of it. I think a big part of it they did, and then other aspects took place.
Well, okay, and people can hate on me all they want for this, and I'm probably going to get some hate on this. But if you really think about it, even if it was creation story versus evolution story, then technically we were made by something that wasn't human. Like, we were made by something that was from a different plane of existence, so therefore that would be the definition of a non-earthly being. Like, so I guess no matter what way you look at it, we were kind of put here by a non-earthly being, either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, though, technically, they're the same story.
Well, they are the same story. Like, if you think about it, like, we talk about, in the Bible, it says, like, 7 days, and he created the heavens and the earth on the first day, and then he created the seas and like, all of that jazz, okay? And it keeps going on and everything else. And he said, even it says in there that he created the beasts of the earth far before he created humans. Okay? Well, if we really are looking at God being on a different spectrum of time than we are, then on that third or fourth day or whatever, when he created the beasts of the earth, he could have been talking about dinosaurs.
Could have been talking about a lot of different things.
Right? It could have been talking about anything, any of the beasts of the earth. They could have been talking about single-cell organisms for all, because technically that is still the first living creature. So, just because...
Little
so if you
single-cell
put...
organism sitting there with a spear. Rawr, beast!
But I mean, like, if you put, like, single-cell organisms or something down, right? And then, like, his day was another 2 billion years in our time, then they would have evolved into all these creatures and everything else by the time that, like, Adam and Eve came around.
I'm just saying, you guys can't tell me you wouldn't have watched that cartoon.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Whoa.
That's exactly what I was
Did watch that, and it was called Osmosis Jones.
That's true. That's true. And it was a good cartoon.
They were inside Bill Murray.
Yeah, that's the only part I didn't like about that.
Yeah, that it was Bill Murray.
Nobody wants to be inside Bill Murray.
Bill Murray doesn't even want to be inside Bill Murray.
Cinderman!
Friend.
But hey, it worked out for him in World War Z because he didn't even have to put any makeup on. Everybody still believed he was a zombie.
True.
Zombieland.
Was that Zombieland? Oh yeah, World War Z was
Yeah.
fast. Was the fast zombies? That's right.
Mm.
So,
And they were still on about the Twinkies.
well, no, so I got a question.
Yeah.
If we think, okay, number one, we know that the aliens were here for some of our first civilizations.
Well, we think we know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's our best theory
Yeah.
at this point.
Wow.
But did they help with the resets?
Like, are you saying did the aliens cause the meteor to kill
Not
the dinosaurs?
no, not caused. Help.
Or helped it by pushing it a little closer?
I'm talking like we have the Baghdad batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Those resets. The human resets.
I think that they didn't stop it. I think that during each one they didn't stop it happening.
Think that...
However, I do know that they have tried. There was a reset that was supposed to take place, and I do know that they tried diligently amongst the different communities of ET to stop it, to stop the situation from taking place. Now, I do personally know that.
Okay.
I've been told a number of things about that, and that is essentially what we would call a reset. And they literally said, no, there's too many humans, there's too many, can't remember the way it was said to me, but essentially it was, there's too many humans, there's too much population of too many species. We don't want it to die off. And it would affect, it wouldn't just affect us, it would affect the entire galaxy. And I was like, whoa. So you're talking trillions upon trillions upon trillions of lives that it would affect. And that was one of the reasons why they didn't want to, they wanted to stop what was taking place. So as far as I know, they got it stopped, but I haven't heard anything on it in a number of months. So
now I do believe that the ETs, along with other governments and different things like that, do try to hide information about previous resets. I do believe that they help them,
I agree,
kind of brainwash us into not seeing what we see, or into not finding specific things, or they just randomly disappear certain objects, like, I don't know, giant red-headed
Stepchilds?
No, giants, dude, that they found in, like, all different kinds of places, and all of a sudden now we don't even have a skull. Like, no.
No, that's government. That's government.
Yes, but I do believe that the ETs, for certain things, will help to keep it under wraps, because they have the technology to be able to do it more efficiently.
Sorry.
But I know that the giants themselves that they found in, like, Lovelock caves and different things like that, that was full government wipeout of that. That wasn't.
Yeah. Different ballgame.
Because those skulls sat in that museum by the Lovelock caves for years and years, and then all of a sudden they just disappeared.
Yeah.
Once everybody started, like, really looking into it and asking about things, then all of the skulls, all of the information on it, all of it just disappeared. That was there's nothing
once people
but a
started
cover
paying
up.
attention.
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing but a cover up there. That can't be anything else.
Exactly.
Friend.
What?
Dinosaurs.
I don't know, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking. Friend, friend, like, so, is there any instance that you know of where they caused one?
Where they caused a reset?
Directly.
Ooh, that's a good question. Not that I've been told, but I can imagine that there's at least one that they caused, but I don't have any. That's a hell of an assumption on my part.
Great dying.
I don't have, I've never been told about it, but I can imagine that they, somebody just said seas, S-E-A-S. Something in the seas. Catastrophic. I just heard the word catastrophic. Do you got a sea in mind? There's a specific, you're not talking ocean, you're talking a sea. That's different. You're not, I know, I just got told I can't tell you. And I'm like, oh, why is that?
Well, I'm just saying, the Great Flood, that every
religious text and historic document talks about?
Is never talked about as an ocean. It's talked about as a sea.
I just got told that there was a specific trench in a sea. And I'm trying to find it right now, and I don't even know if it exists, to be honest. I don't know if I'm...
What's the name of it?
It sounded like Ariana, but not Mariana, but Ariana.
Marinara. In the Sea of Spaghetti.
Now, it's very possible when they said airy on it, I didn't hear the M. So that is a possibility because of this dew hitting me yesterday. The next couple of days usually gets really wonky. It's like why my lips are like super dry and my skin itches like massive right now. And so that's one of those things that goes off for about 2 or 3 days for me, and then everything comes back. Mayo Anna in the sink of the Trencho? Is that what you just said? I gotta get back over here because that'll pop up.
I'm joking.
I gotta check.
Marijuana in the Cinco de Trencho.
Oh, got it. Okay. Okay, so apparently what I'm getting told right now, there was something catastrophic, that happened there long before we were ever in, I'm being shown, the tubes. I can't think of what they're called. Submarines.
Before we were in tubes. Sorry.
Before we were, all I could think of was tube. I couldn't think of the stupid word. Submarine.
We all live in a...
Before we were in something long, hard, and full of semen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, oh.
It's a test tube.
Oh, holy shit. That was funny.
You know, that brings a whole new meaning to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'm sorry. I got my husband looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? Okay.
No, I know what's wrong with you. Everything.
I don't want to get into trouble. that was
Right.
really good.
So dinosaurs, though.
Oh, I'm going to be thinking about that one for the night. That's a really good one.
Whoa, Nikki.
That'll get me laughing. Oh my god. Oh. You need laughter when you go through shit. So you know, you need laughter.
I have never laughed while wading through shit. Just saying. It's never happened.
I've said shit a number of times and then go, oh man. And then something humorous happens, and then you're standing there laughing, and you're like, God has a very interesting sense of humor.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. I don't understand what catastrophic that would have happened before we were in submarines. I'm not getting anything else. I'm not being told anything else. And I don't even know if there's... Oh, I just got told, yes, there is science proof of it, but we haven't found it yet. Okay. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, at one point, the entire human, Homo sapien race got down to less than 1,000 people worldwide. And that is common knowledge. Like, it was during right before the Ice Age and through the Ice Age period, where Homo sapiens almost went extinct. Like, there were 1,000 of us known at that time.
How many different...
Well, this was when there were still subsectors of Homo sapien, like, oh, God.
I have a question, I just don't know how to ask it.
Okay.
Because it's going to come across as, and that's because of what's going on with my brain right now. But how many cultures, I guess is how I should say that. Because otherwise it's just going to come across as racist, and I do not mean it that way. I just don't know how to. I can't get the words to form. How many cultures did that cover with those 1,000 people? Does that make sense?
All of them.
All of them. It was only Homo sapiens. Like, this was during a time where we still had like Homo sapien and all of the other.
Now I understand. Okay,
So,
got it.
as far as Homo sapiens, there were only 1,000 worldwide Homo sapiens at that point.
See, normally I would have gotten that. Oh, God.
And
Something to do with the sides of the walls. That's what I keep getting. It's the something to do with the sides of the walls. Interesting.
weird.
It is weird. I'm like, I'm curious now because now I want to go search. I've got other things that I've got to deal with before I do that because I've got 2 people waiting on me for information, and I'm like, So, but it means that I have to be well enough to be able to do what I have that has been requested of me.
Okay, so you said something about walls? It had something to do with the falling of walls?
Something to do with the walls of the trench. Because I'm looking at these pictures and they're going that, and as I'm looking at the pictures, when I'm looking at the pictures and they're saying that, the specific pictures that I'm looking at are the walls of the trench. They're actual. Some of it's not the trench itself, but they keep getting my attention at certain pictures, certain images that are of the trench, others that aren't, but they're of walls of other areas, if that makes sense. But they're using the word that and trying to use like getting the finger and going down like that, and I'm like, the walls. So it has something to do with the walls.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means though. And I'm not picking up on it, probably because of what went on yesterday. So give me a couple of days and we'll. So
Friend.
fascinating. Learn something new every day. That's my motto, and it's always been my motto. And if it weren't for somebody else that actually said it to me, I would not. Years ago, I would not have gone. Yeah, that's been my motto all my entire life. Literally learn something new every day. That's something new.
Friend.
Pretty fascinating, actually. Yeah. But,
That's not your motto, first of all.
well, no, my motto is do your own research.
Yes. That absolutely
But
is.
when it comes down to it, it's learn something new every day, do your own research. And those are the 2 main mottos. But the one that I speak the most of is do your own research. I get so fed up with people. I had a gentleman who I made a comment on a post in the last 24 hours, and he came back with something to the effect of our sciences, that's not humanly possible. And I just started laughing. I was like, Nikki, don't say it. Don't, you want to say it? Don't say it. I'm like, dude, you don't have a freaking clue. It's because you're wrapped so tight into your own little bubble. Learn to expand that bubble. Learn to research. Learn to look beyond. And a lot of people are not willing to do that. And others are. Yeah. And that's what we want to keep doing is we want to, and that's what that's what I want to see our human populations doing, is advancing, advancing the psychology, advancing the brain, advancing the consciousness, and actually, that's what the ETs, the more positive ETs, that's what they want. They want us advancing our consciousness and not being dumbed down.
Mhm.
That's a whole nother subject. But
Then again, have you met some people? I
oh
don't think
God,
there's anything left to expand there in a certain.
there's certain people I come across. I'm like, where the hell is your brain? I saw last year. I saw this video. This husband and wife had posted. The wife had videotaped their daughter, and the husband was walking across in the video, and the mom who was doing the video was saying, and she named her daughter, whatever the daughter's name is, and she said, "Can you please say that again?" And the daughter looks at her and says, "Why are you recording?" "No, just say what you said again." She goes, "Well, it's a throat spray." And she goes, "Okay, and what does that mean to you?" Or something to the effect of, "What does that mean to you?" And she's spraying it on
the outside of her throat.
On the outside of her throat. And the mom and dad just looked at each other and they're going, "Okay, which one of us is that? Which one of us is that is our fault?" And the mom goes, "No, that's your fault." And I'm like, he's like, "No, that's your fault." And she's like, "What? It's just a throat spray," and she's putting it on her throat. And I'm like, "Oh, sweetheart."
Yeah, with 4 kids, me and Kayla do that a lot.
We do.
That's the thing. It's kids live and learn, but at the same time, there's also a situation to where the kids are sometimes the kids are choosing not to learn, and it's like, where's your brain?
Well,
What
I'm going to say is I'm not particularly talking about children, because children make stupid mistakes all the time. Okay? And they live, they learn, they get over it.
This was a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
I was like, "Wait a minute, what?"
Okay, that's
You're
a little
soon to be
much. But
okay. An adult.
Right.
Like, what the heck?
I'm talking more about like that 45, 50-year-old that will say something and you go, "What the hell? How did you survive to be the age that you are and not realize that that is a thing?" Like,
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
because there are certain people where I am just like, "Oh my God, I do not understand how you're still alive." Because it'll be things that are basic stuff like eating raw chicken. Well, yeah, I mean, it's protein. And it's like, how did you not die of, like, salmonella fucking years ago?
Okay, well,
Like,
would you say the same thing about eating raw pork?
I wouldn't eat raw pork, but
Yeah?
Hey.
Do you know for thousands of years,
they ate raw
the
pork.
Germanic people have eaten raw pork and they still do today?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is so well regulated, no one gets sick from it.
Mm-hmm. No, and I will say certain cultures do certain things that are culturally acceptable within theirs.
Because they regulate it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go to a random farm number 3, kill a pig, and eat it.
Well, but at the same time, our kids should be immune to everything at that point because they're getting grade D meats at school.
That is true.
Hell, you guys should be immune to everything because look at the foods you got.
Yeah, I've seen school lunches. They weren't great. Especially now. Okay, because
I had a second mom who was a lunch lady, and the things that she told me, I was like, "What?" She goes, "Oh yeah, it's." She goes, I can't because I'm gonna. And she's not alive anymore. But damn, I'm like, what the heck? That's not cool. It's just not cool.
Well, and you know, the thing is that, like, when I was a kid and school lunches were pretty bad. Okay, they were pretty bad. But they are nothing in comparison to how bad the school lunches are now. Like,
oh
My kids will say some of the weird, like, I've seen pictures, and I've actually, when there was the whole COVID time and they would drop off, like, school lunches at this, ew, dude, that should never be eaten by anyone. Like, I don't know what the fuck that was, but that was not food.
Well, and that's the thing. When you guys talk about that kind of stuff, and when our kids come home and talk about that kind of stuff, I can't understand it.
Well, because yours weren't. Because
until we actually had the money to provide a cafeteria that could provide decent
not
food,
meatloaf.
rat loaf.
We didn't have a cafeteria. Mm-hmm. Friend, if your school had money, it had a McDonald's in it. Friend.
No, some of the schools down south, like I know Mount Lake Terrace, had way different options than like the schools up here in the middle of nowhere. Like, and
okay, in the 70s, I'm going to cut you off because I can tell you, in the 70s in Seattle, the lunches were pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
In 81, 80, up in Mount Vernon,
Mm-hmm.
up in the Mount Vernon School District in 79 to about 82, 83,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't too bad. And that's saying something, but we also had, where my elementary school was, we also had not an AM PM, but we had a little mini mart across the street, and so you had options. If you had 25 cents, or if you had $1, you could really make heyday on stuff for lunches. But
see, now they
80s,
have all like,
wasn't that bad.
well, and now like you couldn't even go to that corner store because it's all closed campuses and everything.
Yeah,
like there's no way that they would let like a 14-year-old off and do whatever for lunch and come back. Like, you know what I mean?
Hell, we were 10 years old going across the street. What the hell?
That's if they get caught.
Mm-hmm. Yes. No, but what I mean is like they were allowed to. Where
we were
nowadays, there's no way in hell that they would let like you'd go off campus, do whatever, and then come back after.
But every one of our kids has been off campus.
Oh fuck yeah, they have. I mean,
like,
I lived off campus. Are you kidding me? But I would be very disappointed if they hadn't at some point. I gotta be honest, I would. Then that's totally your kid, not mine.
But yeah, it's a different ball game now. I've heard different things that just I'm absolutely horrified by. And kids are struggling so much more differently, but yet at the same time the same way. Regarding school lunches, I mean, even when my son was in high school, the things that he would talk about, or the things that even some of the some of the teachers would talk about, would just really surprise me. And the health, he had a health center, and the things that I was astounded by some of the things that I learned from the nurse and the person on duty. I don't remember what they called the person, but what their job title was, but I was absolutely horrified by what I was just like, wow, okay. Because it was a different ball game. It was a completely different ball game. And he was in high school below 2012. I don't remember what the years were, just so anything under 2012. So the amount of stuff that it was like changing. It was significantly changing. But it was also changing because of the homeless population and because of the amount of students who were actually homeless and living on friends' couches or on the floor of somebody's house.
Like all the McKinney Bento kids and everything else. Yes.
So it really it's a completely different ballgame. They were just trying to make it. what the schools were doing for lunch, even breakfast was just, I was like,
Ew. Yeah.
that's considered,
Food?
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's sad sometimes. I really do, because I know that there are kids out there that's all they're eating that
That's
day.
all they have.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, come on. We can at least make it something that's edible. Like, please.
Well,
Nutritious.
see, that's the thing. Like, your guys' stuff about this is so weird to me still. Because, like, one of the actual recipes that they used at our high school cafeteria, in order to get the recipe for years, you had to be on the honor roll. And then 5 years after graduation, Mr. Lapierre would send you an email with the recipe.
Oh,
Because
wow.
it was so good.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you tried to make it yourself, it didn't turn out right. And you never knew why. You didn't know what you were missing. And then one year they raised the price of the yearbooks to like $75 and
Yeah.
never told anyone why. And it's because it was in the last page. Everyone bought the yearbook that year. Like our recipes, like our school lunches were that good. And
Wow.
the stupid part is, it was called Frips. And it was nachos, but instead of chips, it was waffle fries.
Completely different.
But it was the idea of the meal, or the meat. What spices they were adding to the meat was what made it so good.
Yeah.
Well, see,
Which makes sense.
that's the thing though. If you go to look at like what is it called? Different school lunches in different countries. Okay.
Yes. Very different.
Very, very different depending on what country you're in. Like the
Yes.
U.S. is terrible in comparison to almost every other country out there. I know that in France they have like full-fledged, like pretty much diner style, like order what you want type food, and they have a full spread and it's all crazy. You get like glass utensils and everything because it's an important thing to know. You know, like they teach you the manners of eating at a restaurant and everything that goes along with it as part of your schooling as well.
Well, and you've got places like Japan that they teach their kids very, very differently. And once you're done eating, you clean the lunchroom, because that's how the schools are maintained, is through the students, because it's part of their culture.
They don't just clean the lunchroom, Nikki. They make the
No,
meals.
they do everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a big. There's huge cultural differences, and so going back to the ancient civilizations,
Yeah.
totally different game for them compared to how we are now, obviously. But at the same time, look at some of the traditions that have some of the positive traditions that have continued on.
Yeah.
And how they've become better, and how much it has changed, and yet it hasn't at the same time.
Well, and it's amazing how much more we split.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I was watching a documentary like a couple weeks ago on Finland.
Yeah.
And they did like a whole like cultural differences type thing and it showed like how the Finnish people live and everything about their housing structures and everything else versus like US. Okay. And it was really fascinating to me to see the difference in their education system and the difference in their housing systems. Because like their house is there. So they can have like 1-bedroom apartments and stuff. Like they have them. But every house has a sauna in it. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-bedroom apartment. It doesn't matter if it's every house has a sauna off of the bathroom or its own sauna area, or its own like sauna space. And I thought that was kind of cool. And they do something called centralized heating system. So all of the apartments and all of the big buildings and everything have centralized heating systems, and all of the heat for all of the housing is all provided by the country. So they don't pay heating bills.
Wow.
Which I thought was really cool too. And then they have something called freedom to graze. And this is something I had never heard about before. But, so no matter who owns the land, you have freedom to graze rights. Okay? So that doesn't include, like, their personal gardens that they made and, like, put a fence around to keep the deer and stuff out. But you have the right to be able to go on anybody's property, and they have the right to go on anybody else's property and pick wild berries, wild mushrooms, pick flowers, pick, like, any wild grazing. And you have the right to go on anyone's property and do that, and they have the right to go on any of yours and do it.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like, the differences in the cultures, I didn't realize there was that big of a difference in the cultures until you, like, really look inside a country and get to know,
Yes.
like, what they do on a daily basis. And their schooling programs, they have, and I thought that was cool too, they have the best education scores worldwide. And they only do 4 hours of school, 3 days a week, and the rest of it is taught by parents and other community members as like a hands-on type stuff. So they'll spend like a couple of weeks in different people's like houses in different places, and they'll learn from the farmer about farming, they'll learn from the school teacher about teaching, they'll learn from the business guy, and that's what they do with their extra days that they're not in school. Is they'll go down and they'll learn from like the guy that owns the bookshop on different books and different pricing and like all of that crap, which is actually really cool.
And that makes them extremely well-rounded individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And extremely knowledgeable.
Well, and it makes it so that you don't hold somebody in a different regard for what they do, because you know how hard it is to do what this person does. So, like, sometimes here we'll be like, oh, God, like, they're just white collar, or blue collar, they're a construction worker, or they're whatever. But if you've actually sat there and done that work, you realize how backbreaking and how hard that is. So then you're not going to sit there and say, oh, my God, they're just this. You're going to be like, thank you for doing what you do, because I sure the hell don't want to. I remember how hard that was.
Yeah. I grew up in a family plumbing business, a very successful family plumbing business in Seattle. And my grandfather did construction as well as running his plumbing business. And so I knew contractors. I knew master contractors, master plumbers, carpenters, thank you. I knew electricians. I was raised around all of that, and I'm very thankful and grateful and incredibly appreciative that I was raised around that. I was also raised around family members who were very business oriented and were doing very specific things, and because of that, and me at a very young age, I was learning how to paint properly, how to tape and mud, how to sand, how to clean walls, how to clean certain things, how to do construction. And oh my God, I learned really early on, I can't measure and cut wood for shit. Somebody else has to measure it. I can cut wood just fine, but somebody else has to measure it. And that's because of my dyslexia, which we didn't know that I had back then.
Yeah,
It
so
wasn't
you'd be
until
like
years later.
36
So,
feet instead of 63. Or like,
oh,
yeah.
I'd be going, oh, no, or I'd be like a quarter of an inch off, and it was like, I don't understand why I'm a quarter of an inch off. And it was because of how I was measuring.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of how I wasn't instructed in how the tape measure, because you got that, it's a whole other subject. But anyway, yeah. But once I learned that, can I measure and cut wood now? Yes, but do I want somebody else to prove it, to test it, to look at that, go, yeah, that's fine. Just make sure your cut is here and not here so that you get the correct. And I'm like, okay, got it. So, and I can do it. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Do I like doing it? No, but I know how to. But see, that's the thing. It's teaching at an early age too. Well, not as early as what I was doing, but I don't know. I don't know
Well,
if I
I
would
don't know about all that, though, because to be
But
perfect...
you learn from so many different walks of life. I mean, my grandfather came in contact with so many different people in so many different cultures that it was an eye-opener. So by the time my mom and I ended up going to see my great uncle in Tonga in 78 or 79, I don't remember which year the second, it wasn't it wasn't a gigantic cultural shock to see huts as homes and pigs in a fenced area that are also with cows, that are also with chickens, that are also, and they have their own area. The animals knew their area. I don't understand all of that. And how food was prepared. Like the pigs were roasted in the ground. They were cooked in, now that was new. That was completely enlightening to me. Another one was making tapa cloth by hand. To be able to take the mulberry bark and go from the mulberry bark to making tapa cloth, to actually making cloth, those were the cultural differences. Those were the big things.
Okay,
Nikki, I can explain that whole thing with the animals knew their own areas. You ever been kicked by a horse or a cow?
Yes, I have.
So is that pig.
Oh, that's a good point. I never thought of that.
How?
Never thought of that.
See, this is where I think
before and stomp on my feet before, so that's not fun.
This is where I think we probably grew up a lot alike in almost the same area, actually, weirdly. But like I grew up with parents. One of them was a carpenter, and the other one was at that point, she was a caregiver, so she did like different things at for Chris school.
Yeah, my mom did that too, as well, years later. But yeah.
And then my grandparents, my grandfather was a master carpenter, and he retired out of the union as a union carpenter, and my grandmother was she was a stay-at-home mom, but she had been studying to become a teacher, a professor. So, like, I learned everything from, like, carpentry stuff to just worldly stuff, you know? But this is where we're different, I think, because I had a massive cultural shock just going to Canada. It wasn't... And I really did. Like, Cole could tell you, like, I didn't know how to act around people because it was so... The day-to-day life was so very different than it is here. And sayings were different. And the way that they said things meant something totally different than it means here.
I have to say my favorite part was the first day she was in Canada. She said she was going to run to the store and grab a pack of cigarettes and a 2-liter of Coke, and she only had $5. And I was like, sure you are.
So I came back with the 2-liter of Coke and, like, pretty much no change. But no, like, everything from their financial system to, like, day-to-day speak.
Yeah.
Like...
That's how I was when I went to see my cousins when I was a kid.
Yeah, and certain things mean something entirely different there than they mean here. And I would say something, and it would come across as me being just the biggest jackass in the world. And I'm like, oh, no, I absolutely didn't mean it like that. Like, that's not... And they're like, oh, whoa. And I'm like, God damn, okay, shit. Like, I don't know how to talk to people in this country because everything I say, it seems to be, like, misinterpreted.
That's how Pago was for me.
Yeah.
When you fly from Seattle, well, back then we flew from Seattle to Hawaii and from Hawaii to Pago. And Pago, that was a major cultural shock to me. I mean, hardcore. Yeah, I totally understand what you're talking about.
Well, and they have a
different
kind of societal togetherness than the U.S. does, too. And you wouldn't think, like, because, you know, when you think of, like, Canada or you think of, like, Mexico, you think of them as being, like, the neighbors to the north, the neighbors to the south. You don't think of this massive, massive cultural difference that they have that you're like, oh, whoa, I always kind of figured you guys lived almost exactly like we did. You know what I mean? And then you get there and it's totally not like that at all.
Shit. I never put that together.
Huh.
Okay, you guys have no idea about your neighbors.
No.
What do your people do on July 4th?
We celebrate our Independence Day, I guess.
With who?
With our
friends and family.
Friends and family, yeah. Yeah, Canada
We celebrate Canada with all of our neighbors.
It's everybody in the entire town goes down to the little park and they do all kinds of like stuff together. And we know
everything about our world neighbors. We learn more about your guys' history than most of you guys do.
Yes, I can tell you that for damn sure because he'll bring up something and he'll say, oh yeah, you know, back with the War of 1812 when you guys did. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Cough,
like,
when you guys got
you
your
know,
ass
that
kicked.
kind of stuff. Like, he'll bring up something about, like, the past of the U.S. that makes me go, I've never learned that and I don't know what you mean. And I'll look it up and it's like, oh, fuck, this was a whole thing? And I don't ever remember learning a damn thing about this.
But see, that's where I was a history buff. I loved anything to do with history, cultures, history, everything. So as soon as I was able to read and read fully, my mom couldn't, she was like, just get a library card because that's the only way you're gonna get. And I was constantly bringing books back, and I kind of drove my mom nuts with that kind of stuff because I was like a sponge. I was like everything. So I understand that.
So I'm gonna this way because this was weird. This was my big weirdness. So my mom has lived in the house she's been in since like 2012. Okay.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know the name of any of her neighbors. Okay? Any of
she
them.
recognizes them by sight?
She can see somebody and be like, oh, that's the guy that lives over here. Okay?
Yeah.
But only like 3 of them. Other than that, we don't even know what the other ones look like. Okay?
That's how it is now, here.
Right. And I think about like us living here since 2019 and we live in a community like a God, what would this be considered? No, that's the thing.
Nope.
Is I know there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses on our street, on our little piece of the community street. And I know 2 of the neighbors by name.
Really?
Yeah. I know that guy and then
that's where you get that's where you get the community together and start having events and campfires and doing different things together. Get the family together. Like,
when I went to Canada and I went to Cole's hometown in Canada, his parents and him not only knew all of the neighbors, they knew all of the neighbors, they knew everybody in that damn town. It wasn't just the people that lived right next to him. It was the people that lived on the other side of the river. It was the guys that lived up in the farmlands. They knew everybody, and
28,000 people.
And everybody knew them. And they would go over to people's houses, and they would have fires, and they would do community events and different things like this. And you'd be walking in the store, and at least 5 people would be like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing this week?" You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have been in Washington for pretty much my entire life, minus the few years I did live in Canada. And I know more people in Canada than I do in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that
States are kind of like that.
insane to me to think that I still know more people in Cole's hometown than I know in my own hometown.
In the 70s, when I was living in a very large mobile home park that is now a YWCA, and a bunch of apartment buildings, so they completely leveled this whole area. Everybody knew every single, and there were, oh God, more than 250. Plus there were apartments. Plus there was a motel. Everybody knew everybody, and you knew everybody around the lake except the ones that were in the apartments along the lake. You didn't know anybody there, but you knew all the residents in their homes that were along the lake. Everybody knew everybody. Now that was in the 70s. Things started really changing. We started knowing everybody when we moved to Mount Vernon. We were very social. You knew everybody a lot, and in Mount Vernon, you have on one side of the river, you've got a very long stretch of road, and you've got farmland, you've got residents, you've got farmhouses, you had nurseries, and what I mean by nurseries, I mean plant nurseries. You knew everybody, including the businesses, including the employees from that business. You knew the farmers on the next street over and two streets up. You knew the people because we were walking. We walked everywhere. Well, Mom drove, but I mean, when she didn't want to spend the gas because, hello, gas money, we walked everywhere.
Yeah.
And so you got to know people, and you got to know the farmers, and then you got school buses, and you find out on the school buses where kids lived, and then you're learning, oh, okay, and then the parents get involved, and so everybody knew everybody. And we were out in the Tules. Well, back then we called it out in the Tules, but now it's
different. It's very different.
It's very different. It's not out in the Tules. It's part of
Robert.
Different ballgame.
I know what Canada's like because I've been there, and I know like the type of mentality that like interaction on a daily basis with like neighbors or with like coworkers or with just people you see in a store is like, and I know what that's like in the US. How are those interactions in Australia?
Yep.
Well, pretty much the same, except you're probably going to get called a cunt. Just in an affectionate sort of term.
Yeah, it's a term of endearment. It's a term of endearment.
Well, it is in Canada too, which Cole did not realize when he first came to the States.
Yep.
And that was
That is not true.
He called my mom.
No, I didn't.
It was fun.
I did not. And when I said it to your mom, you know what? We're going to leave that one alone.
Okay.
And we had pretty much the same sort of thing. We walked most of the places and interacted with the people there as well. But like right here where I am now, I can't do that because I can't get out of the house because of the wheelchair. But I probably would if I could. I'd probably know the neighbours across the street there, or the ones at the back, at the side. I'd probably be going out and being social at the activities hall just down the road there. Yeah, but can't get out of the house because I'd have to have somebody to help push me out. I'll pull me out and then push me back in.
So your country is a social country as well.
Hold on.
Okay.
I need to clarify something.
Yeah.
Never once did I call Kayla's mom that. I said that about someone else to your mom,
Okay, that is true.
and she didn't like the word.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
But when I said it about someone else, I was using it in the American term.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But that is something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is something that I did find really different too. Is that like insults in different countries
Oh my
are
God!
super different. Okay, and they mean very different things depending on what country it's coming from too. Because, like, I know the big thing in Canada is, oh, she's such a nice lady, and that's like one of the worst insults
nice.
you could say to somebody is that you're a nice lady, and just move on. And they're like, and they'll look at you like you just called them the C word here. Okay, so.
Or when you just want someone to stop,
That's nice.
when you want someone to stop talking because they're being an idiot, you say, "There we are then." Because essentially, if you take the first letters of all those words, you're calling them a twat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, these things didn't compute with me. So when I was going around and I did say to his mother that this particular woman was very nice, that was a very nice lady, she looked at me like I was the worst person in the world because what the fuck? She is a great person. I'm like, oh my God. No, I meant like she really, okay. My bad. It's stuff like that you just don't know until you're there for a while.
Well, if you hear someone saying "see you next Thursday," that's another term for it.
Yeah.
And the show is on Thursday, so.
In Ireland, I believe the word is crack, C-R-A-C-K, and it means laughter. It means funny. It means humor.
Yeah, it's cracking.
C-R-A-I-G.
Yeah, but in the United States, whoa, wrong word to use.
Look at that guy over there. He's all crack. Oh, damn. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a completely different ballgame.
Release the Kraken.
Well, like in England, the word bloody, okay? Like, that means something entirely different than it does here.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, exactly. Where I'm like, oh, did you hurt yourself?
It's pretty much adding an exclamation point.
Right.
Friend, our cultural differences have spread so far and wide that I'm surprised, like, we haven't honestly killed ourselves off a lot sooner than we're at.
Reset.
Yeah.
Right back into reset. I mean, so we've dealt with a lot of cultural differences over the course of time, basically. There are a lot of cultural similarities as well. In the sense of, we all have families, or most of us have families. We all love somebody or try to love somebody, depending upon the relationship, that kind of thing. We all have friends. There are similarities in that way. We all are, the one thing that all connects us, we all have emotions. We all have human emotions, and that is a huge thing to the ETs.
Well, I gotta say, except for one in every, 100 people, you are correct.
Yeah, there are certain individuals that are born without empathy, or they're born without certain feelings, and that's a genetic thing. That's a genetic makeup. It's also a psychology issue as well, but that's a whole nother subject.
Psychopaths of the world. Yes.
Yeah, that's a whole nother subject. But
I'm not going to say that.
Shut up. I have empathy.
Kayla, quit bringing your problems to the podcast.
Hey, now.
So, there's so many different levels of things. So, I mean, how I'm looking at the title, Ancient Civilizations, and why aliens didn't show up until after the dinosaurs. I'm thinking of that title, and I'm thinking of things like, well, how they've been here the entire time. And how is it that they've changed our lives? And you look at this and it's like, there's that question too. How have they truly changed our lives? And in a lot of factors.
Because I think it also depends on which race you're.
Then you've also got ETs underground as well, and that are living underground, that are not extraterrestrials. They are terrestrials.
They're
are
ancients.
They're ancient races, ancient species of being that chose to be here, to be underground, to make cities underground, to do, or their form of cities underground. So, I mean, so we've got surface dwellers, and then we've got subterranean dwellers.
Well,
so
we also have fire dwellers.
Yeah. True.
So it's like oh god.
I can honestly tell you though, I can guarantee there's one way that some alien races have changed our lives. They ended them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them have.
Kind of put a damper on the whole life thing.
Yep.
Little bastards.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, but if you also think about like existence, like human existence, I'll say human existence. Okay? Like, we're all finite creatures. We all have an end date. Like, it's not like we're gonna live for 10 million years.
Whoa.
What?
Speak for yourself.
Okay.
I have plans.
You're gonna be like that
says
person, like the oldest human being on Doctor Who. You're just gonna be like, moisturize me. Okay, like every 30 seconds.
Didn't you just hear? Me and Robert are gonna be there together.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna either be the big head or the moisturize me chick. Okay.
Cassandra, oh yeah, the face of both.
That's what I was thinking of. I couldn't think of her name. Cassandra, the one that looks like the
Yeah,
piece
she's
of
just a flat piece of paper.
moisturize
me.
And you'll be there. That'll be your job.
I'll be moisturizing you and adding more water to the...
To Robert.
To Robert. Okay, cool.
Oh, God, you guys.
It's okay, Nikki. You'll be a Cyberman.
Sweet.
No.
Well, the other option is Dalek, so, like...
Oh, that's me. I'll be that one.
Dalek, not Dalek.
Well, yeah, sorry.
Dalek.
For him,
I'll
but
be like,
the problem
exterminate.
Runs with garlic.
is, if that's you,
Yeah.
we have to reprogram you so you do your job.
Exterminate.
No.
Oh.
Moisturate.
Moisturate. Oh, no.
God. That's actually really funny.
It kind of is and kind of isn't, because we just brought back, like, women's suffrage. So...
Oh,
like,
man. After all these years.
Oh, God. That's a hell of a thought, isn't it? I mean, seriously. Think about all of that. Jeez.
Oh, I don't want to. My brain already has too much crap in it. I can't think of anything else right now. Oh. Seriously, I've been going down these, like, crazy rabbit holes lately because, like, I'm that person that watches the one, random documentary that leads into, like, 14 other random documentaries that then I need to watch every sub-documentary of that documentary to figure out what that one was talking about this. And I've been on that kick lately, so I think I probably watched, like, 45 documentaries in the last, like, 2 weeks. Just... about everything. Like, everything you can possibly think of. It's just like a rabbit hole of documentary terror.
I can relate to this.
Well, like, the one thing she was watching was facts you didn't know.
Yeah, 25 facts you don't know. You know, like, something like that.
And like, one of them was, that whole thing about us only using 10% of our brain. And that's a complete myth.
Yeah, it is.
And so is the idea of being left-brained or right-brained.
Mm-hmm. Well, then I was like looking up where the statistics came in for only using 10%. And like rabbit holing from there, because that's the way the world works for Kayla. I hear a bit of random ass information and I have to track down where the initial starting point of this horrible like lie that everybody believes was. Ugh.
I know. Well, I know the routine.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like do your research on crack, honestly.
Truly.
Friend.
What? Yes.
So, we believe the aliens were here. They just didn't help them. That's horrible.
They might have actually been the ones that extincted them. I don't think that's the proper terminology for that. That caused their extinction. There we go.
I'm not happy about this.
Why is that?
I like dinosaurs.
Cole's always wanted a velociraptor.
I've never been into dinosaurs, and I've never been into snakes or reptilians.
Well, I've never been...
Dragons, that's the word I was looking for. And I have friends that have just loved, speaking of which, somebody here has a dragon tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised he didn't look up on that. Anyway, but I've never been. I've been more about the fae, the fairies, the wood nymphs, the tree sprites, all of that. And it's like, that's kind of where I've always been. And I find it interesting, those that are into the dragons or the different forms of reptilians, because it shows us where our thoughts are and where our... Oh, I'm losing the train of thought right now. I can't pull it back out.
I do got to disagree with you just a little bit.
On what?
I wouldn't say it shows exactly where your thoughts are or what you gravitate towards, because the only reason I'm honestly into dinosaurs and lizards or anything like that is because of where I grew up. It's what we had.
That's a good point. See, that's a good point.
It's all we had. Like, I also, I really love, and not because of the name, let's get that straight, because they're not the same goddamn thing. Dragonflies.
Yeah, I love dragonflies.
And it's because they were at every year when we went to the lake, they were there.
Yeah.
And to me, they're the coolest insect.
I've always been a bird person. I like birds. But I think that, too, is because I grew up around so many different types of birds. And, we had chickens, and we had, yeah. But I like birds, and I like sea creatures.
And see, that makes sense for where you were, but also, it does have to do with, you're right, what you gravitate towards, what your
interests are.
Yeah.
Well,
and they're not all based off of location.
The way I was thinking of it is what we gravitate towards is a section of where our soul is from.
You're a dinosaur, Cole.
So I've always, in the grand scheme of things, I've always gravitated towards the ocean. I've always gravitated towards anything to do with Atlantis. Now I understand why. And horses. Oh my God. Well, I completely understand. I think I mentioned that privately to you guys last week. But there's reasons why we gravitate towards different things, and it comes down to our soul. And I find that completely fascinating. It truly, I wish there was a study on, oh God, that's funny. I wish there was a study on I wish there was a study on the soul. And I mean a true involved scientific study, as well as going, I mean, just the whole kit and caboodle that goes with it. Past lifetimes, the what we gravitate towards, why we gravitate towards it, not just the psychology. See, that kind of stuff just, man, somebody would do that, I would be right there. I'd be going, oh, sucking it up like a sponge. So I love stuff like that.
Yeah, like.
Yes.
Kayla called me a dinosaur and it kind of bothered me. But I'm not going to lie.
Why?
If we gravitate towards things that are our soul, Kayla's a potato. A couch potato.
Yeah.
Friend.
I'm a couch potato.
Friend. I don't mind being a... You are not Ursula. She was cool.
A fat chick that can't sing but always tries to? I'm totally Ursula. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but she can do magic.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Well, apparently so could she.
friend. Like, no, Kayla sucks at magic. She can't even get the kids to believe a coin trick.
When they were little, they believed it so hard. And then they saw me, like, put a secondary coin somewhere. Mm-hmm. And never again. They're like, Mom, Dad.
Friend.
That's funny.
So that's it for this week, guys. Friend, we are now in April.
We are.
So I think next week we're going to do another Reddit show. We're going to try and help some people. Because I've had
next week I might not be there because next Thursday I've got a thing back up at rehab for the leg to get the prosthetic started again.
Okay.
And that'll be at 3 o'clock, which is exactly the time that you start.
Friend, well, good luck to you with that.
Yep.
Friend, see if they can give you another one. That way you have a seat behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Friend. No, seriously though, like it's absolutely fine, Robert. Friend, you guys are here so often for us. Friend, you guys do an amazing job with all this, so thank you very much to both of you. And thank you to Rosella. Friend, but yeah, I think we'll try and do a few Reddit stories next week and see what we can come up with. Friend.
I love that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that one's going to be, like, it's always an easier week for me, too, because I don't have to think of a lot, and I can just read through some stories. And I need that this next week, because I'm about to start remodeling a bathroom. So.
Been there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Friend.
Good night.
So, thank you, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you check out Restore Belief with Nikki. Friend.
Yes.
And,
Thursdays.
Yeah, on Thursdays. So tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, 7 p.m.
Or tomorrow morning, depending on where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Friend.
7 p.m. Pacific time.
That really bothered me. So I have a friend in Australia, Robert.
Oh, yes.
She sent me a freaking like she was my first Facebook birthday at fucking 9 p.m. last night. And I'm like, what the frick? And I'm
That's
like,
because they're a day
shit,
ahead.
she just woke up. Right.
Yep.
So.
That would have been 2 a.m. here.
Seriously?
Yeah. 5 hours ahead and change AM to PM. That's how I do it.
I'm going to have a talk with her parents.
Because it's 5 p.m. now. 4, 3, 2, 1, 12. So it's 12 there now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hell is she doing up at that time?
Well, you got to remember, he is...
15 hours? 18 hours?
Well, you're in upper Western Australia, or upper
Eastern.
Eastern Australia, and each section you go down
has a different time zone.
Has a different time zone.
Yeah, because down south in New South Wales is an hour ahead still. So until April 6th, so this weekend.
Yeah.
Then they go back to normal time, our time.
Yeah.
Fuck,
So
I hate time
it's
zones.
it's like the United States.
Right.
It's got time zones like we do.
Fran. All right, well, now I'm thoroughly confused. Good night, everybody.
W's done.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah. Arrivederci. Something tinkle.
Time keeps on slipping.
Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.
Son of a biscuit eater.